Hello, my name is Isabella Perez, Recreation Leader for the City of Socorro. Thank you for joining today's meeting. Before the meeting begins, we would like to remind our guests to remove all hats and silence all electronic devices. No destructive behavior or outbursts will be tolerated, and violators are subject to ejection and possible prosecution.
Hola, mi nombre es Judy Rodríguez, secretaria de Planificación de la Ciudad de Socorro. Gracias por participar en la reunión de hoy. Antes de que comience la reunión, nos gustaría recordarles a nuestros invitados favor de quitarse los sombreros y silenciar todos los dispositivos electrónicos. No se tolerará ningún comportamiento perturbador ni exabrupto y los infractores estarán sujetos a expulsión y posible procesamiento.
Good evening, everybody. Muy buenas tardes. I want to welcome you all to the Socorro City Council meeting. At this time, it is now 6:01, and I call this meeting to order. We're going to move to agenda item number 2, and we have the Pledge of Allegiance today led by students from Socorro Middle School. And I'd also like to request that everybody remain standing for a moment of silence for our Deputy U.S. Marshal Antonio Perez, who was involved in an incident yesterday in our sister city, San Elizario. We're sending prayers to him and his family this evening. Would you all please stand?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the
Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. And if I can have both of you all stand up here with us today. We would like to, on behalf of the city, congratulate you all for attending our meeting and being part of this and leading us in the pledge. And we have Ms. Rojas and Ms. Cordero that would like to present you today with the certificates.
Ethan Aguilar.
We want to take a picture with you. I want to shake your hand. Thank you, sir.
And Devin Ortiz. Thank you, sir.
I gotta put on my colors. We went to school together, everyone, just so you all know.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Thank you all. I was the valedictorian, she was the
And we're all the same age.
Yes, yeah. We're all classmates. I want to thank the parents as well of our students here. We appreciate you all attending our meetings. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we're going to move on to agenda item number 3, establishment of quorum.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Here.
Alejandro Garcia.
Here.
Mayor Rudy Cruz.
Here.
Gina Cordero.
Here.
And Irene Rojas.
Present.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Olivia. We're going to move on now to public comment.
Mayor, we have 2 speakers. Our first speaker is Jose Dominguez.
Mr. Dominguez, if you would like to approach the podium. ¿Inglés o español? Español está bien, señor. Como usted se siente...
Señor Domínguez tiene 3 minutos.
Mil disculpas por no hablar en inglés, pero mi nombre es José Antonio Domínguez, soy residente de Socorro por 40 años, desde que antes fuera ciudad, fuera parte del condado. Me da mucho gusto que al mayor le tenga amor a su escuela, mis hijos todos graduaron de ahí y 2 de ellos fueron valedictorian. Entonces, me da gusto que se sienta orgulloso. El asunto que me trae ahorita, un poco de historia. Como les digo, yo resido en la calle Fray Holguín y esa calle no tiene más que como unos 250 metros. Y nosotros tuvimos que cederla a la ciudad para que nos dieran los servicios. Entonces, algunos de ellos ya habían puesto sus bardas o lo que sea, ¿verdad? Y ahorita estoy viendo que están poniendo un caminito ahí para caminar. Me di cuenta, le hablé a la ciudad, nadie me supo dar razón hasta que hablé con la city manager y me dijo que estaban haciendo ese para caminar. Entonces, la pregunta mía, ¿por qué no se nos informa a los residentes cuando se va a hacer algo? No sé si me lo puedan contestar ahorita, porque a nadie se le avisó que se iba a hacer eso. Yo siempre he estado procurando que haya mejoras en mi calle y yo había propuesto que por qué no nos ponían banquetas. Dijeron que desentonaría con la ciudad, porque nadie tenía. Ahorita ya hay muchas subdivisiones que tienen sus banquetas perfectamente. Entonces, ¿por qué no hacer lo mismo con las demás calles de Socorro? Ahorita estoy viendo, le pregunté a la persona que está haciendo ese trabajo, dijeron que estaban siguiendo un plan. Yo fui a ver el trabajo y estaba muy mal hecho, tenía ya como unos 100 metros de formas muy mal hechas. Entonces, después de que hablé yo con la city manager, dejaron 2 días de trabajar y después pues, fueron y corrigieron todo lo que habían hecho. Pero ahora estoy viendo que empiezan en una parte, se topan que hay un poste, le sacan vuelta al poste, se vuelven a meter, ven un medidor de gas y le sacan la vuelta. Y creo que eso no es la manera correcta. No sé si me explico. Yo creo que para hacer un trabajo así, pues no necesitaría más dinero, más que echarle un poquito más de tierra y levantar ese camino y ya tendríamos una banqueta. Entonces, si queremos mejorar la ciudad, pues no malgastemos el dinero que se consigue en grants. No sé si me explico. Ahorita ellos han vaciado como una tercera parte de cemento, pero como comento, le están sacando la vuelta a los postes, cuando yo pienso que deberían de tomar la medida del centro de la calle hacia donde corresponde la ciudad.
Señor Domínguez, se le ha terminado su tiempo.
Bueno, muy amables.
Señor Domínguez, si gustaría podemos suspender las reglas para que pueda seguir hablando o si es suficiente la información.
Pues me gustaría nada más explicarles por qué es que estamos buscando en lo personal,
Ok.
¿verdad?
Formalmente vamos a suspender las reglas para que siga explicando. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and offer Mr. Dominguez some more time to state his case.
Second.
There's a motion second. All those in favor, say aye.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, no, we need a first for the motion? You want to make
Mr.
the motion?
Garcia, motion.
We have a
Mr.
second?
Garcia, motion. There's a second. All those in favor?
Okay, I apologize.
Okay.
My bad. I apologize.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain?
Gracias. Como les comentaba, si reciben grants para hacer mejoras en la ciudad, pues yo pienso que deberían de buscar la forma de que se haga una cosa permanente. Porque yo como veo, si ahorita van a hacer ese sendero para caminar, honestamente, por mi calle no pasa una sola persona caminando. O sea que de nada nos va a servir. Otra cosa sería si ponen su banqueta con sus cordones que protejan nuestra propiedad. Ahora, donde yo veo que están mal, porque ellos están siguiendo los límites de las propiedades, de las bardas. y están nada más dejando 2 pies libres, pero a veces se meten y ellos no saben si se están metiendo en una propiedad privada y están haciendo eso. Entonces podría la ciudad recibir una demanda si se meten a propiedad privada, si no están seguros de dónde están haciendo las cosas. Entonces, no sé si ustedes pudieran tomar en cuenta eso y revisar antes de que prosiga el trabajo. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, señor Domínguez. Mr. Domínguez, si guste dejar su información con...
I have his number.
Yes, okay. Nos gustaría seguir la plática atrás de las puertas con la ciudad para darle mejor información y para que esté más informado, y nosotros necesitamos más de sus comentarios también para que...
Quisiera, si me permite, nada más, el año pasado estuve tratando de hacer un traspaso de mi terreno y tuve muchos problemas, he tenido muchos problemas, porque no hay un ingeniero de la ciudad y eso nos genera a nosotros, los residentes, gastos extras. Entonces, no sé quién podría hablar conmigo, o si me pueden dar una respuesta, o podría yo venir a la siguiente junta.
No, señor, nosotros le vamos a dar su tiempo en las oficinas y con gusto nos sentamos. Sí.
Muy bien.
Muchas gracias, señor
Muchas
Domínguez.
gracias.
Me da gusto ver gente nueva. Espero que sean preparados para que esta ciudad se vaya para arriba.
Prospera, gracias. Mr.
Gracias.
Domínguez.
Gracias.
Gracias. Maida Gomez. Ms. Gomez, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Maida Gomez. I am a recreational activity and laughter therapy for golden agers. If I can speak something in Spanish, I'm from Puerto Rico, but I prefer for half the 3 minutes. Okay. Muy buenas tardes a todos. Llevo ya aquí unos años en El Paso, estaba deseosa de mudarme a Socorro y el 1 de enero me mudé a Socorro y estoy aquí presente. Siento que hay una necesidad en atención al adulto mayor. Trabajé como líder recreativo en diversos centros, pero hay un área que no se está trabajando y decidí crear lo que se llama Risas Doradas, donde ofrezco estos servicios. A través de amistad me contactan y he comenzado, ya llevo casi un año con ellos, atendiendo adultos mayores con discapacidades mentales y físicas. He tenido unos cambios, unas cosas hermosas, pero a la misma vez estoy contra el mundo. Quisiera pues simplemente expresar qué es lo que hago, ponerme a las órdenes. Ahí recibo casi constantemente llamadas de personas, pacientes de cáncer, distintas condiciones que no pueden llegar a estos centros de cuidados diurnos a recibir actividades, o cuando están en centros son los pacientes que no se pueden mover de sus camas o simplemente están deprimidos. Y ese está siendo mi público mayor. Así que simplemente quiero darles a conocer Risas Doradas. Estoy también en una oficina desde enero también en Socorro, en la calle Socorro, pero resido aquí en la Nirmal, en la calle Nirmal, apartamentito detrás de una casa. Voy poco a poco. Como estaba compartiendo con la señora Margie Pérez, mi meta es tener un terrenito aquí en Socorro, poder tener un espacio como para 50 personas para dar talleres. He dado ya charlas para diferentes grupos de cuidadores, donde les enseño herramientas a través de la risoterapia. Tengo un máster en risoterapia. Soy maestra de música también, o sea, tengo diferentes artes y utilizo todos los dones, ¿verdad?, para servir a esta población del adulto mayor. Así que me pongo a las órdenes, Maida Gómez, y un placer y gracias nuevamente por recibirme. Sería esa es la información que quiero compartir.
Muchas gracias, Ms. Gómez. Muchas gracias.
Mayor, those were all our speakers.
Okay, very well. Thank you so much, Ms. Navarro. At this time, we'll go ahead and close out the public comment segment and move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
There's a motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? All right, we're gonna move on to agenda item, let me see here. Agenda item number, actually, we're moving on to regular agenda, correct?
Correct.
Do you need action on the,
Public comment, no, we don't need action.
okay, but for
We'll
regular
just
agenda,
open it, you just need to open it and
All right.
if anybody's interested in speaking.
Thank you. Agenda item number 8 is a public hearing of an ordinance establishing regulations for the use, treatment, and disposal of pecan shells, almond hulls, and similar materials to prevent pest infestations, providing penalties for noncompliance, and establishing an effective date. Public hearing is now open at 6:16 p.m.
No speakers, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Navarro. As there are no speakers, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing also at 6:16 p.m. Agenda item number 9, second reading and adoption of an ordinance establishing regulations for the use, treatment, and disposal of pecan shells, almond hulls, and similar materials to prevent pest infestation, providing penalties for noncompliance, and establishing an effective date.
Motion to approve. Second.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Victor Perez, Deputy City Manager. In the summer of 2024, the city of Socorro experienced an infestation of the red flower beetle. The beetles were drawn out by pecan shells that were used as ground cover. The infestation quickly became a health concern as city residents had beetles in their homes and businesses, and in turn, the city of Socorro, along with Texas A&M, AgriLife Extension, the County of El Paso, Texas Department of Agriculture, and El Paso Water developed a 3-pronged plan, which included public outreach through social media and other outlets, public meetings as well, and distribution of household insecticide. The city of Socorro found it necessary to propose an ordinance that regulates the use, disposal of pecan shells, and other similar materials, and establishes penalties for non-compliance for the purpose of preventing the proliferation of pest infestations within the city. And so this ordinance before you also goes beyond just the pecan shells. It also addresses possible rodents, anything that a desert may have as far as the infestations are concerned. And so for the offense, it becomes a misdemeanor offense with a possible fine of up to $500 per occurrence. If you have any questions?
Do any members of council have any questions for Mr. Perez? Mr. Reyes?
I just got not a question, but a comment, that it's very important to let the public know. A lot of times we take decisions and it stays here, in-house. Not everybody keeps up with the meetings. Not everybody keeps up with social media. And I think it's very important for us to go out and let the public know before showing up and just handing out a fine.
Yes, sir.
So if we could, make sure we let everybody know.
I agree with you 100% on that. I believe when this agenda item first came up and there was discussion about it, I believe Mr. Reyes also brought up launching somewhat of an educational campaign for our residents.
Yes, sir.
So that way we're not just out there handing out citations and sending out code compliance. I think there needs to be a time frame, right, where we can educate our residents about the new ordinance change.
And so those kinds of things will be going through our recreation department for posting on social media, and then also posting information on our website.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Do any other members of council would like to comment on this?
Are we gonna do any kind of paper materials, like leaving notices in the houses before?
Given the fact that we would need to look at the viability of that, only because there was such a large area to cover, and so certainly that's something that can be considered and we can look at in terms of viability.
Something other than just social media. Not everybody has the availability to read the social media.
Yes, ma'am.
We might look at avenues, and again, without committing to too much as far as cost at this point, because I wouldn't be able to tell you, but we might be able to look at possibly working with Lower Valley Water District and doing maybe inserts in their bills.
Good.
But again, we would need to look at that.
Thank you.
Because they're really good at invoicing us.
Absolutely.
Mr. Perez, I know that the question may arise later on. Does this ordinance adhere to those who already have this type of material for landscaping or driveway, their grandfathered in, correct?
Yes, sir, because they were already in possession of those pecan shells as ground cover before this takes place. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on the table? No? There was a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? This motion passes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. We're now moving on to agenda item number 10. This is public hearing of an ordinance approving a replat for Marquez subdivision, being Lot 19, Block and Haciendas del Valle Unit 2 subdivision, and located at 11611 Valle Lindo Drive in Socorro, Texas. Public hearing is now open at 6:21 p.m.
No speakers, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Navarro. As there are no speakers on this item, we're going to go ahead and close the public comment section also at 6:21 p.m. We're at agenda item number 11. This is a second reading and adoption of an ordinance approving a replat for Marquez subdivision, being Lot 19, Block 8, Haciendas del Valle Unit 2 subdivision, and located at 11611 Valle Lindo Drive, Socorro, Texas. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the staff recommendation. Second.
Mr. Botello.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Jose Botello, planner with the City of Socorro. Item number 11 on the agenda today is the Marquez subdivision replat. And if you'll give me a moment for the presentation to reflect on the screen. There we go.
You have 10 seconds.
Yes. There we go. Okay, slight delay. So some general information on this replat. The property owner / representative is Mr. Sabino R. Marquez. The lot size is 20,000 square feet. The zoning for the property is R1, which is single-family residential. The current land use is residential. And so the request is for approval of a replat for Marquez subdivision. Staff recommends approval of the replat for Marquez subdivision. And the previous condition for approval to submit the plats that meet the engineering review comments was complied with on January 10, 2025. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the replat for Marquez subdivision with staff recommendations at their December 17, 2024 meeting. And so on the following slide, you'll see that the property is situated on Valle Lindo within close vicinity to Hueletka Drive. The property is outlined in a thick red line, so the yellow denotes the R1 zoning designation for the property. These are some pictures that were taken from Valle Lindo Drive. There's currently an existing residence on the property, followed by an aerial image. You can see the size of the property with the structure on the property. Sorry. And so the preliminary plat shows what the intent is, which is to divide the property. As previously mentioned, the property is 20,000 square feet. So replatting this would leave two lots at 10,000 square feet, which is compliant with our ordinance. And then on the next slide, you'll see the final plat, a little bit cleaner for this, for Marquez subdivision. And so once again, the request is for approval of a replat for Marquez subdivision. And at this time, staff can answer any questions.
Do any members of council have any questions on this item? No? No further discussion? There was a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? This motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Botello. Moving on to agenda item number 12. This is a public hearing of an ordinance approving a preliminary and final plat for Revive Community Church subdivision, being tracks 4D5A, 4D5A1, 4D5B, and 4D5B1, Block 3, Socorro Grant, and located at 10720 West, is that West? Or it's just W. Burt Road? West Burt Road in Socorro, Texas. Public hearing is now open at 6:25 p.m.
No speakers.
Thank you, Ms. Navarro. As there are no speakers for this item, we're going to go ahead and close the public comment segment at 6:25 p.m. as well. Agenda item number 13. This is second reading and adoption of an ordinance approving a preliminary and final plat for Revive Community Church subdivision being tracks 4D5A, 4D5A1, 4D5B, and 4D5B1, Block 3, Socorro Grant, and located at 10720 West Burt Road in Socorro, Texas.
Motion to approve with staff recommendation, I'm sorry.
Mr. Boteo.
Good evening once again, Mayor and council members. Jose Boteo, planner with the City of Socorro. Item number 13 on the agenda is the Revive Community Church subdivision preliminary and final plat. So some general information on this preliminary and final plat request. The property owner is the Revive Community Church. The representative is Reverend Jose Medina of Revive Community Church. The lot size is 3 acres. The zoning for the property is RE, which is our Rural Estate Zoning District, with a conditional use permit for the church, and A1, which is our agricultural district. The current land use is religious assembly / residential. And so the request is for approval of a preliminary and final plat for Revive Community Church subdivision. Staff does recommend approval of the preliminary and final plat for Revive Community Church subdivision with the condition that the engineering review comments are met. And commissioners for planning and zoning recommended approval as well of the preliminary and final plat for Revive Community Church subdivision with staff recommendations at their December 17, 2024 meeting. And so on the next slide, you'll see that the property is situated along Sparks Circle and Burt Road. And in the following slide, you'll see the zoning map. The teal color within the red outline represents the rural estate zoning district. The green represents the agricultural portion. And then I think on the previous slide, we show a couple of pictures of the property that were taken from West Burt Road. The aerial image will show you the church that is currently on the property, as well as the residence that's towards the back on West Burt Road. And this is a preliminary plat for Revive Community Church subdivision, showing some of the topography and the required items for a preliminary plat, followed by the final plat showing the 3 acres for this development for Revive Community Church subdivision. And so in summary, the request is for approval of a preliminary and final plat for Revive Community Church subdivision. And at this time, staff can answer any questions. We also have Reverend Medina present to answer any questions as well.
Would council like to discuss further? Do they have any questions? No? So on the subdivision, what exactly is going to be, are they expanding?
Yes, there was a request for an addition, and so anything that's built, prior to, I believe,
1986, yeah.
Is allowed to exist. But anytime you're requesting additional square footage or an increase in square footage on a property, Section 38.1 applicability under subsection B, we outline the requirements for a recorded plat. And so given the fact that this property is still under tract form, the requirement was to plat so that they can proceed with submitting
on the current structure.
Yes, sir, correct.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Boteo. There was a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed or abstain? This motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boteo. We're moving on to the Grants Department. Agenda item number 14. discussion and action to approve updates to the zone schedule for the City of Socorro's Foreign Trade Zone number 302.
Motion to approve.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Jose Quiñones with the Economic Recovery Office. What we're doing today, last year we got our foreign trade zone approved, 302. It is the newest foreign trade zone in the nation. And just about 8 months ago, we actually got our first foreign trade zone. Today, what I'm coming to you for is to ask your approval to make a change on page 7 and 8. You'll see the changes. The add-on is to add a manufacturing incentive for new industry that would be coming into the city of Socorro. Okay, the potential there for it is obviously manufacturing jobs bring in a lot of value into a community. And now that we have our industrial corridors, which are all along the I-10 from end to end, and the Socorro Logistics Center here on anchoring on the Nuevo Hueco Tanks area, we think that it's a really good time to be competitive regionally, not just here in Socorro, but regionally I'm talking West Texas, southern New Mexico. The manufacturing incentive will make it easier for us as a city to compete for a project that Socorro so deserves. So this just adds on, makes sense all the way to do it. I'd be glad to answer any of your questions. If you have any?
Would any members of council like to discuss further? Do you have any questions for Mr. Quiñones? Mr. Quiñones, should this council approve the updated zone schedule? Are we still competitive with the surrounding foreign trade zones?
Are you talking about foreign trade zone in another country, or are we talking just the U.S.?
Local trade zone down the road from us.
So to be honest with you, we will be definitely very competitive.
Awesome. All right.
So this is just adding on to something that doesn't cost the city. That's just going to make us very competitive. Obviously, you have the last say. So if you decide to approve a project, that a project comes to you, council would have the last say. So now, just so you understand, is if council does approve today, I need to take this to the U.S. Foreign Trade Zones Board under the Department of Commerce. They grant the final authority for us to add this incentive. They can come back and say, Jose, I need your council to modify it this way. And so just to be upfront with you, but it's typically it might be something like this, the technical nature of what I put in there. I did this before in a previous city, and it's been sort of successful. So I know that following those lines and comparing it to others shouldn't be an issue at all. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Quiñones. I would appreciate that. There was a motion and a second on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? This motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item number 15, discussion and action to approve the submission of a grant application to the Texas Preservation Trust Fund for the Socorro Historic Resources Survey Project and approve a match of up to $122,000.
Motion to approve. Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Alejandra Valadez, City Development Director. We are requesting your approval to submit this grant application to the Texas Preservation Trust Fund. The Texas Preservation Trust Fund funds projects that will result in the acquisition, survey, or preservation of historic properties. There is a 1-to-1 match, and there is a maximum grant award of $50,000. As you know, the city of Socorro is very rich in historical assets, culture, and a lot of beautiful historic properties. However, the city's historic survey has not been updated in over 2 decades. Because the city is experiencing exponential growth, we are concerned that as new development comes in, we have not identified all of the gems and historic properties in our community, and therefore they will be lost to new development. The goal of the Historic Resources Survey is to document and evaluate historic properties in Socorro and identify them as historic. By identifying properties as historic, it allows property owners to go after some of those historic preservation funds that are available to them in the form of grants or sometimes tax credits to rehabilitate and preserve their properties, and thereby contributing to the local economy, as you have seen in our historic mission trail. We have a quote that is attached in your backup. This quote is only for the application process. If we do receive the grant, we will have to go through a competitive procurement process, but we are requesting your approval for the match of up to $122,000. That amount is the maximum that we feel would be required of the city after we go through that procurement process. It may be lower than that, but that is the maximum that we are requesting. From the backup, you can see that there are other options if you want, if you feel like that match is too high. The quote does provide for a lower option, which is a municipality-wide reconnaissance survey. That's a limited windshield survey with where the architects would drive by our community and visually identify those properties, but they wouldn't do the intensive level surveying of those properties throughout the entire city. And so there is an option to reduce that match to $64,000. However, we have been working with our historic preservation officer, with the planning and zoning department, and going after the more intensive level survey aligns perfectly with the priorities that we've identified in the Socorro 2040 comprehensive plan, as well as a lot of the goals that we have for the mission trail in our historic districts here around the Rio Vista area. So with that, I'll leave that option to you all, the possibility of approving the up to $122,000 or reducing that if you feel like that is a match that is too high for us at this time.
Do any members of council, Mr. Reyes?
I got a question. If we were to decide to do it ourselves, the city, and go pay for that survey, how much would that be?
The total project cost is about $170,000, $180,000. With this grant, we reduce that down to about $122,000. So we're getting a portion of it paid for by the grant. But those types of surveys are very costly because they require a qualified architect, and those architects have to have experience in historic preservation.
The only reason I'm asking is if we're getting help, we're not gonna have to pay it all ourselves, and it's something that has to be done. It hadn't been done for, you said, 20 years?
Over 20 years, that's right.
So even if we were to pay that 128, we're still, you can say, saving a lot of money with the grant.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, ultimately, with the grant match, there's a cost savings should we consider the match of up to $122,000. At the same time, I feel that it really is important, and we owe it to our community and those that were here before us to document the historical sites in our city before they're all gone, because once developers come in and buy out certain properties that were once considered historical and those are not documented and preserved and protected, they're lost forever.
You won't see them again, right?
Yes.
I agree.
So do any other members of council have any more comments, or would you all like to discuss further on this one here? Is your option to go after the match that's been presented here today, or do you guys consider any other options? As stated, there was a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? This motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Valadez. Mr. Martinez, do we have any items for the...
We have number 16, Mayor.
I'm sorry. We're at agenda item number 16. I'm sorry, Mr. Perez. This is a discussion and action to approve the participation in the Kroger opioid settlement with the Texas Attorney General and authorize the city manager or her designee to execute current and future forms required.
Motion to approve. Second.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Victor Perez, Deputy City Manager. The Office of the Texas Attorney General would like to get the City of Socorro to provide them with a decision as to whether the city will be participating in the recent Kroger opioid settlement. The deadline to execute and return the Kroger subdivision participation form has been extended to January 28th. of 2025. The settlement is subsequent to and distinct from prior settlements and requires execution and return of the attached participation form that, if approved, the mayor would sign. Socorro submitted its resolution, and it was through Resolution 657 that adopted the Texas term sheet, and again, that is also included in your backup. The estimates for what the city of Socorro would receive in direct payments at this time would be about, let's see, 28,188. Thus far, we have depleted $4,171.41. These payments that would be made to the city would be only for opioid mitigation for previous expenses, current expenses, and future expenses. And with that, if you have any questions.
Do members of council want to discuss further on this item? No? There was a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? This motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Mr. Martinez, for the following items, do we have anything for 17, 18, 19?
No, sir.
No? Would anyone like to make a motion to delete items 17, 18, and 19?
Motion to delete items 17, 18, and 19?
I second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? The motion passes. Agenda item number 20.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna drag the meeting on to, no, I'm joking. This meeting adjourns at 6:42 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you.